Hello and welcome to another episode of Wannabe Entrepreneur. Today I have Wolfy here again.
In real life.
In real life. That's crazy. He's actually here. I can see him. I can touch him. I just touched him.
Just such an awesome feeling.
Yeah. And we are in Düsseldorf in my apartment, and it's like a professional studio here, right?
Yeah, it looks very professional, yeah.
We have a carton box with styrofoam. We have an air mattress on our, covering half of the wall. And and great weather as always here in Düsseldorf, right?
As always, you don't have rain here in Düsseldorf.
Yeah.
Hopefully you heard the irony.
They call it the Bahamas of
Germany.
Of Germany, yeah. So you are, I guess, my biggest fan.
Of course, definitely.
Like just to start, let's take that out of the way. And how many episodes have you listened?
All of them.
All of them. Every day you listen to one episode.
Of course.
And you are everything.
And hopefully you couldn't hear the irony now.
You are a paying member. You are.
Of course. That's why I'm part of the community, because all the interviewees, right, are part of this community, which is, by the way, really cool. I really like it. I mean, I know a lot of people there, but still, it's kind of a new space where you can just exchange and ask questions. And I mean, you have interviewed a bunch of cool people, and it's just cool to also get maybe their experience or their perspective, and just know what they think about problems or ideas that you have. Or also, if you have an idea, for example, and you, I recently had an idea in the world for content creators, and you know a lot of content creators, so I just went there and asked if people use this service, or if they think that it's a bad service, or they would see room for improvement or whatever. So you have direct access to those people, for example, to content creators, which is quite helpful for this idea that I had.
But what is your favorite interview?
My favorite
off topic here, but I'm curious. What is your favorite interview so far? Because I think you've listened to all of the episodes. And you're part of the community. You're probably the most active person in the community. So yeah, I want to see.
I don't think so that I'm the most active one.
Besides me, I guess.
I really like the interview with Eva, because I really like the idea, and I always like this problem I don't like the problem, but I faced this problem at the university as well, for example, with women and with female students, and in the computer science world. And I think that's a huge problem. And again, in Trivago, I faced the same problem getting female developers and even getting applications. It was super hard. And that's why I really like this topic or the solution that Eva proposed, because it's a small step, of course.
Yeah.
But it's one step, and we need more of those smaller steps to change it a bit.
And this is might be kind of a provocative question, but why do you think?
Go for it.
Why do you think it's a problem not to have that many women in tech, for instance?
I think it's just the lacking diversity that you have, right? So I have seen that in many areas, not only in the dev world. But it's completely different if you have a woman in a team. The atmosphere changes, and I think it's with all other.
How does it change?
I mean, I can give you a good example of my fire department life as a youth.
You're a firefighter, right?
Exactly, a volunteer firefighter, and I was a youth instructor for a long time, and we had just small boys usually. And it's just completely different, even if they're just 12 years old. If there's a girl in the team, it changes. They're nice to each other. They try to impress the girls. They have completely topics that they talk about, and it is a nice atmosphere suddenly. And I think they can just learn from each other. It doesn't have to be a woman or man. It can be whatever diversity means, right? In all the dimensions, but you can learn from others and you behave differently than if it's just a boys club. And I think also for development, it's just important to have all these dimensions, and it's not only women and men. It's only like at Trivago, for example, we had a lot of international people.
Yeah.
And it was just super helpful to know how a Russian person sees the problem, this perspective of a Russian or a Brazilian or a German, whatever it is. So I think it's really important. Yeah.
But do you think also that there are certain skills where women are better than men in terms of... So let me give you an example. I love sailing, as you know. And once there was an interview with one of my favorite sailors. She's Pip Hare, it's her name. She did the Vendée Globe, which is a race around the world. And there was a question about, like female racers versus male racers. What are the difference? One thing that she said is very interesting. She said that men, they are stronger, naturally. Their body is stronger. So the way they surf, they don't have to think so much in advance because they can use strengths to fix problems. So if you are a sailor, especially if you are in the storm, the ropes pull very hard. So if you're a man, you can, grind and do these kind of things with using your strength that as a woman you can't. So she said that women have to think more in advance. They take less risks in a storm, or they have to prepare more, and that also has some disadvantages because it's less risks, but also has the advantage of you take less risks, so you don't damage your material. You think more in advance. You know what to do when something goes wrong. So these are skills because of the anatomy of being a woman and man that it changes and the way they face problems, and that's great. So it's great, I guess, to have a mixed team. Is that the same in development world?
I mean, I don't like those stereotypes that much, but I think it's true. I mean, if you have diverse people, you have different people, just different perspective, different aspects, different skills, of course. And I think you might be right. There are reasons for that. I don't know if it's really related to the body or whatever, or to the education. Might be the case. I think just in general you have different aspects and different perspectives, and that's important. Whatever the reason is for that. I mean, another example is in Austria. I think last year, 15 or 20 men died in the mountains, and just one woman. And it's definitely not the case that there are 20 times more men in the mountains than women. Yeah. So there's definitely a difference somewhere, right? I don't know exactly what reason it is. It might be that or it might be that women take less risk, but I'm not sure about that. And I think it's even not important to think about the reason. It's just that you need different perspectives, and it doesn't matter why it is a different perspective. I think you just should cover the majority.
All spectrums,
Exactly, yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. I was just doing this provocative question so that we would... But think about it. But for sure, it's not important to really pinpoint what are the differences. I think diversity in general is good. As you said, not only about in terms of gender, but also in terms of race and mentality.
It can be even two men. I think if we are sitting here on your balcony and discussing a problem, we are two people and we have two perspectives. Exactly, it's already better than having just one perspective, right?
Exactly.
So that's already diversity because we are two different persons. That's already diversity, and it helps, of course, just to discuss a problem and to have two perspectives.
So how happy were you when Eva joined the Slack channel? Because some people do not join, and it's a pity, right? There's people that I interview and I understand they're too busy. Eva
So
agreed to join.
no finger pointing, right? But Matthias, we're still waiting.
Yeah. Matthias, for instance, and other entrepreneurs I interviewed. I mean, I understand. Like Steph Taylor, for instance, she didn't join because she has like a huge community. She cannot join another one. I fully understand, which is a pity because I would love to have her also in the community. But if she joined, she's already having and you already made a question as well to her.
I asked her directly about some financial things or backgrounds, or not backgrounds, financial
background. What is your how much money do you have? Like,
yeah, it was kind of such a question. I asked if she thinks that, or how many pieces of, I don't know, shirts or whatever you sell, you need to sell to make out a living of it.
Yeah.
And we found out that it's quite high, right? In general, in this industry. So again, it's super simple to just ask a question, and you have those people there, and you can just discuss things or ask for advice, or I mean, just ask a question if you think that's a cool question, because I mean, you were asking a lot of cool questions in the interviews, but there's always a question that is missing, right? And then I think I could ask this question, or I would ask this question, and now in the Slack channel I can just go there and hope that I get an answer. But so far it was quite good, and
it's still not super active. There's like you, me, Luisa sometimes, and
now the pronunciation was right, the proper Austrian pronunciation.
Normally, I used to say Luis, which is more English, I guess. And Wolfgang just told me that I should say Luisa, which is very similar to the Portuguese pronunciation, which is Luisa. But
I don't know what she prefers.
Yeah. But so we are, I guess, the most active ones. The other ones are mostly when they are tagged. And by the way, that's a pro tip if you want to build a community.
I think you shouldn't say that it's not active. Otherwise, people don't want to join, right? But it would be good.
It's active, but it's not. Let's be honest. I think mostly every day there's one message, or every other day there's at least one message, and engaging. And people, if you ask questions, they will get back to you. But let's admit, so far it's not a vibrant community with like thousands of messages,
But I think that's a good reason to join, right? If there are more people, then I think we will have also a better conversation and more questions. But it's also good because then it's not overwhelming. If you have thousands of messages and you have to organize that then in channels. And I mean, that's possible, but I think also now it's quite okay. And for me, the good thing is that I can approach other people and ask questions, and
from different backgrounds too.
Exactly,
right?
Completely different ones. And of course, I can also go to LinkedIn and find those people, but then I don't know if I get an answer. And now you're in a small community. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, I want to make it as a community of both mentorship and for like small or starting entrepreneurs to help each other grow. Because there, as we said, there's complementary skills there, and that's kind of what I want to do. So if you, like, I think having a mentor, someone helping you in this career, or this path, which is like a not very normal path, it's always good, and that's what I wanted to do.
I think it's also super important, especially if you're alone working on a project. Then I think you need other opinions, and I mean, you can go to Reddit and just send it out and hope for an answer. You also get good answers there. But I think if you know the people, also how they think and what background they have, because they were listening to your podcasts and they know about the backgrounds of the people, then of course it's also better. You can directly think, okay, this person has this background, this skill, I can ask for something. So I think that's quite convenient to have such a community. But I think you definitely have to grow the community, and I would also like to see more people there. Maybe you should just lower the barrier. You can cut it later that I just proposed that you should lower the barrier, because at the moment people have to buy you a coffee, right?
No, they have to become members. So this is something
one coffee a month, right?
Yeah. A bit less actually, but Yeah, so this is something we were discussing before, which was being part of this Slack channel is kind of a perk of being a member of the Wannabe Entrepreneur. And this enters a little bit in the monetization, right? So as I say, I always say, I don't do ads. I don't want to do ads. I would love to see the community supporting the podcast. And I know that it's very hard. And I know, Wolfgang, that you don't pay for any podcast as well. And myself, like I've now I started doing this because I realize how hard it is and the work that I'm putting into this. So now if there's some YouTuber or someone that I really like, I give a coffee or something, but I've never actually became a member. So I'm trying to create, a product, besides, okay, you are supporting the podcast, which is already great and it really helps me. And somehow you are the reason why I am able to continue doing this. It's the pain. So far, of course, I cannot live from this, but there will be a time that I will either quit because I need the money, or I will have people supporting. So the ones paying are the ones actually supporting for the others. And if you like that, that's already great. But I think, okay, it's nice to, give an extra benefit. And since like being a member is the holy grail for me, being part of the community, it would come with the price of €4 a month. But you disagree, right? You think it should be free.
Maybe not free, but I think a subscription is maybe a bit too much, especially now. You don't know what you get, right? I mean, I think most of the people, they want to support you, and it's not because they want to get access or gain access to those people. So I think it's not that important for those people, at least what I think is the main reason behind, or that they're reasoning what they had. So they just want to support you, the podcast, the idea, and not getting access to, I don't know, some blog posts or the Slack community.
Because what I also think is, I would love this podcast to also make money, even if I stop it. And the reason is because I'm putting a lot of effort, I'm putting a lot of learnings there, that if someone starts the podcast today and I've already stopped it, I would still like to somehow make money out of this without ads. And with ads, it's normal. Like there's ads always, and people just listen to the ads and they pay, even if the podcast already stopped and there's no new episodes. But what I want to do is like build something on the side of the podcast, so like with the Prime content, with the Slack community, something that makes people, even if they in 20 years they join this podcast, they still think, okay, I should still. It's worth it for me, because I don't have a connection with Thiago because he's not doing this, daily, whatever. But it's still worth it for me to pay a little bit to get access to this content.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I'm not sure if it works, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, what would convince you to pay? Like, what would be a no-brainer for you? So you wouldn't pay for such a community, or would you pay to join the community if it was a bit bigger?
That's a problem. You don't see the value of such a community before you join, right? You can't see that. It's just you hear, okay, there's a community or something like that, but you don't know if it's really that valuable. So usually people just see the value when they are already in the community, or they have used the community somehow, or got already value out of it.
Yeah.
So you don't see the added value, right? But
I cannot do a trial. Right? I cannot say like join a community for a month and you're kicked out if you don't pay.
Yeah, you could. I think that's also possible. Yeah.
I mean, you can also become a member and then stop being a member, and then I guess I will have to kick you out. It's a bit weird, right?
I mean, you could also think, or just say that people can, or ask people for donations, and maybe then in the community, and then maybe you get at the same percentage at the end of people giving you money.
That's actually a great idea. So, I could create a Slack bot, a reminder, every month, and like ask, do you want to contribute for Thiago's community?
Exactly, because again, I think it's I would donate for the podcasts, but not for the access to the community. But if I'm already in the community, then maybe I donate as well. So I can give you another example of our driving license platform that I have talked about in one of the episodes. You can link that in the show notes.
I cannot sponsor you anymore. So now you have to pay.
So we get we get a lot of donations from people. We ask for donations because it's for free, and usually we get it after they already passed the exam. Because whenever we get a donation, we give them an ad-free account without ads. But then they usually reply and say, no, I passed already my exam, thanks, but I no longer need it, right? So people use it, they see that it was valuable, and after they pass the exam, they give the donation. So I think that is definitely also the way to go, to just let people contribute or not contribute, to be part of the community. And if it's really valuable, then I'm pretty sure they will also donate something for the community.
Yeah.
At least a small percentage. It's always a small percentage, but if you ask for money, it's also just a small percentage of all your listeners who will join.
Okay, so I think I figured it out. Not figured it out, but I think I made a decision, which is, if you are a member of the community, if you are a member of a Wannabe Entrepreneur, then you'll have a lifetime access to the community. So even if you cancel the membership, you'll get a lifetime membership for the Slack community, but you still have to be a member. And on top of that, for the remains of the month of September, anyone that buys me a coffee will also have access to the community for a lifetime.
Or a beer.
Or anything.
Okay, that sounds like a good solution, yeah.
And
so you believe in your community, right? That you will get something back.
Well, yeah, but I'm also asking for money. So I won't do the bot then.
True, but you can't. It's not a sustainable community. I mean, in terms of financial sustainability, if you just get a one-time fee.
Yeah, true.
So you still believe in your community that they will somehow make sure in the future that it will be sustainable and that it will be alive. And if you need money or if the community needs money, then they will somehow figure it out. So you're a positive person now.
I'm a positive person. No, I always believed in the community for sure. I just so basically, of course, people can just become members, join the Slack channel, then cancel the membership right after that. But it's okay. I believe that most of people won't do it, and if they cancel the membership, it's because they really can't pay. So that's okay.
Yeah, but you believe in the good people. That's always good.
Now the question is, should I keep the bot?
You mean the reminder?
Yeah, the reminder bot.
I don't know if it's really needed. You can still think about that, or I think it's not really needed, to be honest. I think the community is smart enough to think about that. You can write a personal message from time to time, right? I think it's definitely better than having a bot writing messages.
Yeah, good point. All right, so thank you, Wolfy, for this brainstorming.
It was a pleasure. It's always cool to bounce ideas.
Yeah, definitely. And as a summary, until the end of September, if you buy me a coffee or a beer or whatever, the link will be in the description. You get automatically access to the community, to the Slack community with other entrepreneurs and mentorship and so on. And if you are a member, then you also have lifetime access to the Slack community, even if you cancel right afterwards.
What about those people who gave already a one-time donation or beer, coffee?
It's only from now on.
From now on.
Yeah.
Good. Then they have to buy you another coffee. Yeah. That's good.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah. Hopefully no one will get mad.
I think that's fine. But as I got a free coffee already today.
Yeah. Or you can come and visit me in Düsseldorf. Well, I'm almost leaving, but then you'll also get a free coffee from me.
Yeah, then they have to go to Portugal. That's
yeah, or
also
to
fun.
Portugal, and let me know. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. Wolfgang.
Well, what should I say?
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow in the community.
Yes.